On this episode of the OurView Podcast, I am joined by my guests, Jay Trivedi and Nico Meyering. Like Nico, Jay also lives with Congenital Central Hypoventilation Syndrome, also known as CCHS. During our conversation today, Jay shares his experience of living with CCHS and how it impacts his daily life. Also, he and Nico share the importance of building community, connection, and friendships when living with a disability. I would like to welcome everyone back to another episode of the OurView Podcast, where we aim to educate, raise awareness, and change the tone of conversation about disabilities. I am excited to welcome two guests to the podcast today. One of the guests you actually heard from in a previous episode, and the other guest is a brand new guest to the podcast. So I would like to welcome both Nico, who you all have heard in a previous episode, and also Jay to the podcast today. So thank you both for joining us. And
Thank you.
yeah, so Nico, it's great to have you back on another episode for the podcast to join us for this conversation today. And it's really good that both of you are here because in the previous episode that Nico was on, you shared your experience of living with congenital central hypoventilation syndrome. And Jay, you're here to share your story with us today. So if you could, Jay, could you just introduce yourself and share with us some fun things about yourself, about your life that you live?
Yes, of course. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jay Trivedi. For visual background, I am a regular skinned individual with black hair. As you can see, I'm wearing a Turning the Tide 7th International CCHS Day t-shirt, which was given to me as an idea from Nico. We celebrated it on November 13th, 2021. And CCHS stands for Congenital Central Hypoventilation Syndrome. And as you can see, the theme for last year was Turning the Tide, which means we're going to be turning the tide to raising awareness for things like treatment and education and many other resources for our foundation. I live right now, you see a living room as well as a kitchen. I'm sitting on a breakfast bar with the curtains closed. So there's nothing behind you except grandfather clock. Hopefully you won't hear that going off the whole time. And a few fun things about me. I like to watch, like Nico, I like Star Wars. I'm a big Avengers geek fan. I also like Fast and Furious, Jack Reacher, Mission Impossible, the Terminator movies. I love those. And finally, my last one being some of the latest Batman movies. That's it. Cool. And I also like a little female heroes like Elektra and Ghostfire, Catwoman.
Cool, that's awesome. Admittedly, I am not into much of the superhero movies or the Star Wars movies. However, I did just get a subscription to Disney Plus, and I do plan on, taking taking some time to watch all of the movies that are there. And I've been given some direction on what order to watch the movies in so that I can understand. Understand what's going on. So I just never, I don't know why, I just never had been interested in that genre of movie. But like I said, I just got the Disney Plus subscription almost a week ago. So I working my way through some other movies and things that I hadn't seen yet, and then I'm gonna sit down and enjoy the the superheroes and the Star Wars.
I highly recommend you getting. I highly recommend you getting into the James Bond franchise.
Okay, all right.
That's something me and my dad always love.
Okay, I will add that to my list.
And I just got the movie No Time to Die from the library, so I plan on watching that this weekend, seeing how it turns out.
Oh, cool. That's great. So I
Okay.
will so Jay, as you mentioned, you also live with congenital central hypoventilation syndrome, CCHS.
Not to
uh,
worry.
yes. So can you share with us your experience of living with this diagnosis and how it has impacted your life?
Of course. So as you can see, the difference between me and Nico is he is not trached. He is decannulated. And I have been trached since birth. I too was born with the syndrome since birth, and um, for how it has impacted my family is when we first found out, when my family found out that I had this problem. My family had faced a challenge that she had to leave one of her jobs and basically look over my care. Um, and in fact, it was Nico's mother who had overlooked my case, and that's how. At the time, I did not know Nico. I had not known him as a person. I did not know him virtually. So there was no way I could have met him in person, except all those like 5 6 years ago, where I finally get to meet the the brother I have always wanted, and I've always been looking for all these years. Um, and as you may or may not be aware, I am an only child. And it has been a challenge being able to live with the syndrome as an only child, because you know your parents are always taking care of you, looking after your care, um, thinking about what you need as far as medical care goes, how about your sleep patterns, and the different the other difference between me and Nico is that I sleep on a mechanical ventilator, so I am only sleeping during nighttime. I do not need a 24/7 ventilation. So, and before I forget, I would like to describe the CCHS syndrome, if I may. Okay. So obviously CCHS stands for Congenital Central Hyperventilation Syndrome. It can be viewed as two ways. It can be viewed as a visible disability or an invisible disability, and that is depending upon the treatment. So obviously, whether one has a tracheostomy or decannulation. Also, it is a genetic mutation that can impact your nervous system. Patients diagnosed with the CCHS will require some sort of mechanical ventilation during sleep, or 24/7 or 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Um, and depending upon the diagnosis, some of the other symptoms include poor eyesight, poor temperature controls, and cognitive delays in young kids. There are estimated to be 2,000 cases worldwide, and very little research is being done to find a cure. However, we at the CCHS Foundation are working together as a team and as a family to fix that um, by raising awareness around the world and by raising money towards treatment for those we love dearly to our hearts. Most of the patients can live full and healthy lives, and they can work, have an education, and have families. So currently, I work in retail. My education includes a bachelor's of science in business administration with a finance minor. And then some of my previous work experiences include working in a community college with the disabled in the disability services department, tutoring students with different disabilities in computer office programming and beginning mathematics. And I have also worked for another retail company called CVS. And I have recently, due to health reasons, I decided, and I am full-time right now, so I decided to leave the company and keep going with Walmart, because Walmart has really done well as far as accommodating for people that have a disability. So they have really done a good job of understanding my concerns and my health and what is necessary if I need to take time off from my job.
So as I mentioned, Nico is also joining us for this episode, and I shared in Nico's episode that we were all connected through Tiffany Yu with the Diversibility Leadership Collective, which you both belong to. I am also going to do that as well, to join that. It's a great network of people with different disabilities, and it's a great networking tool for people with disabilities to really connect with each other. For those who have similar and the same medical diagnosis, and those who just are part of the disability community, because we can really uh, we can really make change. And as you all are doing through your foundation, raising awareness and educating about different diagnoses and how they impact all of our lives in different ways. Could you both share with us how joining a network of people at the Diversity Leadership Collective, how that has impacted your life? We could start with Jay.
So, Arthur, so obviously, joining the DLC was an idea that Nico had offered. So I do want to thank him and give him credit for that. By joining the DLC, it has really allowed me to, meet others who either have the same disability or may have a different disability. Like they may have an academic disability, they may have autism, they may have cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, um, you know, etc. And it allows me to be open about the positives and challenges that can be faced with when you're disabled. That and third, it has allowed me to appear on like live sessions like Instagram, and get involved in some of the community mixers and talk about things that can really affect your way of life when faced with a disability or challenge. And and the other thing that we also get to do is, and Nico had hosted one just recently, is was a community peer support. And so basically what we get to do is we get to be open about some of the main challenges we face, whether it be work life or life in our homes. Because we're disabled, we have to be faced with challenges, whether it be from our family, whether it be from our uh, work life, or dating life, what have you. And so the other thing is, it allows me to learn about some of the live sessions that some of the other people who have disabilities, like for example, so that's basically what's the benefit of the DRC for me, at least.
And Nico, can you share with us what you have found to be beneficial about joining the DLC?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Yeah.
I find incredible value in building community wherever I am. And if there was ever a time that the disability community needed to come together and advocate for one another and help one another, it is now. I also just really enjoy being able to give back to a community that has given me so much. So I value the DLC for those opportunities to connect, and to hold space for all disabled people for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's a really, as I said, I haven't joined just yet, but I've heard so many great things about it. And Tiffany is a friend, and she had been on the podcast before to share about Diversability, which is such a great thing that she created, and does you all do great work there, and they just have such great programs, Instagram live sessions and question and answer sessions and things that they do, and different forums that they host through Zoom with different people on different topics about ableism and fashion and just all different great topics that they host the programs there through Diversability. Um, so it's just really been great to connect with both of you, and we've shared emails back and forth, and just had a chance to really uh, talk about your condition, your diagnosis of congenital central hypoventilation syndrome, which I had never heard of before. So I think it is so important. I'm so grateful to have this platform that I am able to have both of you on, and to share your stories, and just to uh, raise my own awareness and educate myself also about a diagnosis that I had never heard of before, and just to share that with everybody else. So I really appreciate the the chance to get to meet both of you, and look forward to sharing some more spaces with you all, sometime in the future. So thank you both for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's
Not a
fantastic to
problem.
make your acquaintance.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, so thank you both so much, and we can wrap this up. If you guys want to share where you can, if where people can follow you on social media, you can feel free to share that at this time.
Go ahead, Jay.
Sure. So, if you would like to um, uh, find me on Facebook, my Facebook name is Jay Trivedi, J as in Jay, and last name Trivedi. Instagram jt.trivedi. Um, and email you can email me at jtrivedi@qmail.qcc.edu. Being disabled, it hasn't, stopped me from talking about my disability with others who have not even heard about CCHS. It's really important to be open to those who have not seen someone with a trait or, uh, you know, ever heard of this. And, whenever I go out into the workplace, I am not afraid to be open about my disability, you know. And there have been times where I find that it has been a challenge uh to disclose my disability when it comes to things like job interviews, because I find that and maybe this is a pattern. I find that more able people are being hired because they're they fit the criteria. I'm not really sure if it could be our disability that is rejecting us from getting the job. Maybe it's something else. It has become a pattern, but Walmart took me in so very carefully that they seem to understand and comprehend the fact that this person has a disability, but yet he is still able to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
It really, it's amazing.
Thank you both for your time today, and I look forward to sharing this episode with everyone.
No, thank you.
Again,
Thank you
to
so much.
Yeah, to raise awareness and educate about um, CCHS. It's really, it's great to talk with you both, and like I said, to learn myself more about this diagnosis and how it has impacted your life. So thank you both, and have a good day.
Have a blessed
Wonderful.
day,
Thank
sir.
you.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I want to make sure that this podcast is as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions or any topics you would like for me to address in an upcoming episode, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at OurView for Life. That's OurView, the number 4, LIFE. You can also email me, ourviewforlife@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.